Hey kids, Flexing Teacher Weber here. This next video goes through more factors, fractions, and lowest terms. But you don't always want to, when you're putting a fraction in lowest terms, you're not always going to sit there and write out all the factors that go with those numerator and denominator. You're going to use a lot of mental math. You're going to use your knowledge of divisibility and mental math. So let me show you what I mean. What we did today is we did write the following in lowest terms using mental math. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the first one, 16 over 24. Red, I don't want to do red. I want blue. There we go. I'm a creature of habit, kids. All right, so 16 over 24. Now, if you can recognize the greatest common factor of 16 and 24 just by looking at them, that's great. It's 8 actually. And you could divide the numerator and denominator by 8. Okay, so you could do, I know 16 divided by 8 and 24 divided by 8. 16 divided by 8 is 2 and 24 divided by 8 is 3, and you would be done. But let's say you don't recognize that, okay? You could do this. You could start dividing by any factor that you know. So I know both numbers are even, so I could do 16 divided by 2 and 24 divided by 2, chopping them in half, and I get 8 over 12. But then what you'd have to recognize is that they're still both even, so you'd have to divide by 2 again, and divide by 2 again, and you would get 4 over 6. And then you would recognize still that they're both even, so you could divide by 2 again, divide by 2 again, and you would get 2/3 exactly like you got up there. Either way you slice it, the fraction in lowest terms of 16 over 24 is 2/3. Either way would be fine, but that's more of a mental math approach where we use some of our knowledge of divisibility and factors to figure out what numbers we can divide into the numerator and denominator. Number 2, got another one here, 70 over 100. Okay, what I recognize right away is that both of these numbers end in 0. And I know the divisibility rule, if a number ends in 0, it's divisible by 10. 70 divided by 10 is 7. And 100 divided by 10 is 10. And I haven't mentioned this much in the video, but the rule states once you have a greatest common factor of the numerator and denominator that's 1, you're in lowest terms for sure. So the factors of 7 are 1 and 7, and the factors of 10 are 1, 2, 5, and 10. The greatest common factor between 7 and 10 is 1. And once that greatest common factor is 1, you're done. You can't divide it anymore, and it's in lowest terms. So 7 over 10 is that fraction in lowest terms. Okay, and then the last one, 50 over 50. And hopefully what you recognize here is that you can divide 50 by 50 and 50 by 50. Or you might just recognize that this thing right here means 50 divided by 50. Either way you slice it, you get an answer of 1 whole. That's 1 whole. Okay, so using mental math is a really good strategy to put fractions in lowest terms. And definitely got to know your factors and divisibility. So the assignment I gave the kids today was a sheet called page 207. And for number 15, they're given 6 fractions. They have to list the factors and then put those fractions in lowest terms after they've found the greatest common factor. In number 16, they can just use mental math if they want. And you can see here, I started number 15 with them. So 15 over 20, they had to list the factors of 15, list the factors of 20. The greatest common factor is 5. They divide the numerator and denominator by 5, and the fraction in lowest terms is 3/4. I hope these 2 videos have helped. Give this a shot. We're going to be practicing it some more, so no sweat if you don't get things right away. That's all for now. Have a great night. Trust me, I'm flexing. Flexing Teacher Weber out.